Hello, friends. Welcome to Crack Defense. So, we'll start with our chemistry series. In the last lesson, we discussed the overview part of what we are going to study. So, this will be the first part of our chemistry series in which we'll study what matters are. Okay, so what matters are, so anything which has mass and which occupies space is called matter. So whatever you can see वो matter हो जाता है. So if you can see the wall around you, the table, the clock, okay, so all these things are matter. And if we talk about the states of matter, we have three states of matter, that are solids, liquids, and gases. Solids, liquids, and gases. Okay, so solids, ice is an example of solid, wood is an example of solid. Okay, uh, wall is an example of solid. So these are solids. And if we talk about liquids, so water is an example of liquid. uh, Tea, coffee, these are liquids. Okay, and anything that is in the form of vapor, that comes under gas category. Now, if we classify them, so we classify them uh, as physical state and chemical state. Okay, in physical state, we have solid, liquids, and gases, and in chemical states, we classify them as elements, compounds, and mixtures. Now, in the coming classes, we'll discuss about each of them in details. Okay, so first we'll cover the physical state, and then we'll cover the chemical state. So let's talk about the physical state. So here we have this figure. Okay, so this is the figure. Here you can see solids, liquids, and gases, and below this you can see this diagram. Okay, you can see this diagram. So here these green dots, they are showing us the intermolecular forces or intermolecular spaces. Okay, so the space between them is called the intermolecular spaces. Okay, so these are the molecules, and then these are the spaces between these molecules. So in solids you can see that these spaces are very less. In liquids you can see that they are more in comparison to solids and less in comparison to gases. And in gases, the white spaces you can see is very much. Okay, so here with this what we can conclude, that in solids the intermolecular spaces are very less and intermolecular forces are very strong. Okay, so intermolecular spaces and intermolecular forces, ये दो चीज होती हैं. Intermolecular forces अगर strong है तो intermolecular spaces will be less. Okay, here intermolecular spaces जो है वो they are more in comparison to solids, so intermolecular forces will be less. Okay, and here intermolecular spaces बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, so intermolecular forces will be very less. Okay, then because of the intermolecular spaces, these solids are rigid. Okay, and these are less rigid when we compare to this, so they are not rigid, this is not rigid. This solid will be rigid because of the intermolecular forces. And then we'll see the table. So we have a table in the next slide. So here we have this table. So here you can see that solids are rigid. Okay, and liquids and gases are not rigid. Intermolecular forces are very strong here. Here intermolecular forces is intermediate, so it's between solids, so it's less than solid and more than gases. And here intermolecular forces are very weak. If we talk about shape, so solids have fixed shape, liquids don't have a shape. Okay, they'll take the shape of a container. If you have a glass of water, so the water will take the shape of a glass. If you'll transfer the water in a bowl, it will take the shape of that bowl. Okay, so it doesn't have a fixed shape, it will take the shape of any container. And gases, they don't have space. Okay, so they don't have intermolecular forces, they travel a lot from one place to another place, they travel a lot, they don't stick at a place. So they don't have any shape. And if you talk about volume, so they do have volume. Liquids also have volume, but here they don't have volume also. So what we can conclude from this, that solids have fixed shape as well as fixed volume. Liquids have fixed volume but they don't have fixed shape, and gases, they don't have fixed shape as well as volume. Okay, so this was the basic difference between the solids, liquids, and gases. Now we'll cover this part, the transition of matter. So how matters are transferred from one state to another state. So if there's a very simple example of water. Okay, so if you'll freeze the water, it will take the shape of a solid. Okay, solid will melt to form water, and then water will evaporate to form vapors. So that is what is written here, that we have solids. Okay, so we have this solid is melting to form a liquid. Okay, then liquid is vaporizing to form a gas. Okay, and then अब इसका उल्टा भी पॉसिबल है. If we come from gas to liquid, so that is called condensation. So what is condensation? This can be a question, that what is condensation. So it is transition of state from gas to liquid is called condensation, and liquid to solid is freezing. So if you will keep water in your freezer, that water will freeze and it will become a solid. Okay, so that is called freezing. So what is condensation? Transfer of gas to liquid. What is freezing? From liquid to solid. And then if solid directly transfers to gas, that is called sublimation. Okay, that process is called sublimation. And if gas directly changes to solid, that is called deposition. So here what happens is, it will skip one phase and it will directly get converted into the third phase. So solid, when it directly converts into gas, that is called sublimation. Gas, when directly converts into solid, that is called deposition. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now we have to cover the physical part, so that we will cover in our next lesson. Okay, so this was about the physical composition, and in the next we'll study the chemical composition. So I hope you love the series, you like the series. So, and if you have any questions, do comment in the comment section. I will come up with your replies. Thank you.